Howdy doody, and welcome to the Mad Painter Show. We're at a place where, no disrespect to Pac, we're at a place where on a me against the world kind of a thing. And people are feeling like, super aggressive. And sometimes we may have to be like that, and sometimes we don't. But to be like this on an everyday basis, that becomes kind of heavy. And you get lonely like that. I mean, aren't you tired of being alone? And I love scary movies and seeing them scary movies, people who be in certain places for too long, like lonely, depressed. What's the other one? Grieving for very, 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 very long periods of time. It's like that's how these different things get introduced. That's neither here nor there, except I'm going to get into that just a smidgen, not a whole lot. But in talking about this me against the world thing and how it's you versus everybody else, that's kind of that gets kind of lonely. So I'm looking at my notes. I got notes here today. I did a little bit of studying. And so if you keep thinking like that everybody is against you, in becoming this and working on our best self, it's about what we're focusing on, what we're thinking, what we're letting in, etc., etc., etc. So if you're at a mindset where you're thinking that everyone is against you, eventually everybody is going to be against you, because in you thinking like that, it creates an attitude. Because what did I write down? I wrote down something special. If you keep thinking, it was special when I wrote it down. If you keep thinking like that, everybody will be against you because of the magnetic force, the magnetic force your energy puts out, or your energy is putting into it, because of this is what you're thinking and what you're focusing on. So, I was doing a little bit of reading, and I was reading in Luke. It's Luke somewhere. I want to say towards the end, because I don't have that page and I'm not about to look for it at the moment, but it's in Luke, and it was the situation going on with this woman at the well. And so I'm guessing it was like guys, a whole bunch of men bringing, and it was originally, because I was getting ready to do my man voice, it was originally a thing to test Christ, but it was these guys, okay, I'm bringing my man voice, coming like, yeah, look at this adulterous woman. We caught her in her fornication, doing her relations with whomever. So, Jesus, doodling in the dirt, he said something along the lines of, something about whoever hadn't sinned or something like that, because they about to stone this woman to death for messing around with a married man. And so he said something along the lines of whoever hasn't sinned or whatever can cast the first stone. So slowly it started off with the elders, because I saw that and it was my first time seeing that, and I've read that plenty of times. And it was like them old folks thought like, I know I done did me some dirt. I done probably slept with some married women here and did a little thing. And so they was the first to go. And then the other ones, one by one, they started leaving. And so it was a situation where it was just the woman and Jesus. And it was a thing where he was like, so where are your accusers? And she was like, they're not here, sir. No one was there, whatever the reply was. But what I saw, it was just him and her. And he wasn't even there to accuse her. And this is where I'm going with our topic today, in the words of Michael Jackson. You are not alone. I am here with you. So this is a God thing, and being like a inside, outside, inside thing, because it's really, we've really been focusing on the inside, because this is part of getting and being our best self and how we're going about doing that. So I just want to, do some neutral discussing at the moment. And today I will be discussing some things from the Satanic Bible. Now, we're not doing no conjuring or nothing. We're not talking to nobody. I'm just reading a few things to you that's not going to be too much different from what you and you may not have read it, but at least some of the things and what I've talked about, I've read it, some things from The Art of Seduction, and discussed some things as far as the 48 Laws of Power. And so we're going to start off. Okay, so Anton LaVey, I understand they're not, I'm pretty sure there are a whole bunch of other different, I don't necessarily want to label it as like a satanic Bible type of a thing, but as other writings as far as in how belief goes with the religion, because there are other religions, but that's neither here nor there. We're going to go off Anton LaVey. And Anton LaVey is who wrote the Satanic Bible, but at the moment, from this little snippet part that I'm reading from, it's going to be the opening from Magus Peter H. Gilmore, which I believe he took the place after one of Anton LaVey's women took place, and then he took the place of like priest or something. But anywho, we're going off into this thinking because I want you to pay attention to the language and the thought that goes behind this, and also in considering the things that I've been reading to you and we've been discussing, well, I've been discussing with you in past videos. And so this is just giving like a little background on how Anton LaVey came up with this. So unlike the founders of, and I've skimmed all the way down from in the introduction, opening part, or whatever this is called. Unlike the founders of other religions who claimed exalted inspiration delivered through some supernatural entity, LaVey readily acknowledged that he used his own faculties to synthesize Satanism. So remember, people who have been listening to me for a minute, now we have been talking about as far as our lower self, our higher self, lower and higher nature, and what comes along with following the lower nature and what comes along with following the higher nature. And so it's so many thoughts going through my mind right now, and it's like I'm trying to keep it at base because we were like just sticking our toe in the deep end, just a smidgen. We're not getting like super deep here, so we're just sticking our toe in there. But as far as in looking at this, because if you're letting your lower nature rule you, it has an opportunity to rise within you and take over your higher nature, which will dominate and control that. Your higher nature, if you're allowing your higher nature to control, it's not only going down, it's coming back up because we're focusing on the higher. So that's our aim. But again, it's just a neutral, and I'm just giving you the different perspectives and as to why the whole argument is we're not alone. And because so in looking at the consequences as far as like the 48 Laws of Power, like you really do end up alone. I mean, other than the tormentors and whatever's going on in your brain that's helping you to be alone as well. So let me stay focused. Nope. Okay, so he based it on both his understanding of the human animal acquired from life experience and the wisdom he gained from other advocates of materialism, pragmatism, and individualism. Okay, so we just hold that little thought bubble right there, that little part right there. And I'm going to skip past to the 9 satanic statements. So in these statements, for those of you who have followed the 48 Laws of Power or the Art of Seduction, there's very similar language because they're using the same tactics. And this LaVey was sometime like 50s, 60s, 70s. I think he died in the 90s. And let's see, Green may have did that book, what, 90s, 2000? I don't know. I can't remember, but I believe it was 2000 sometime. So we're going to go to these statements. I'm just going to read them real quick. And I'm reading these too so you'll have an understanding of the mindset. And also too, what I'm talking about is, you are not alone. But we're still, this is like the me against the world concept. Again, nothing against Pacus. That's my dude. Although I had to stop listening to him and dealing with anger. But we're going to get back to this. Okay, so Satan represents indulgence instead of abstinence. Satan represents vital existence instead of spiritual pipe dreams. Satan represents undefiled wisdom instead of hypocritical self-deceit. You see how he having an issue with that, because he murmuring and like, I ain't trying to hear that. Satan represents kindness to those who deserve it instead of love wasted on ingrates. Now, I'm going to stop right there. It's a lot to say about all of that. And remember what I was saying as far as discipline and all of that other stuff. Because you're gonna, just in one, listening to my mentors and experiencing things that I have experienced before, listening to them and then recognizing that it's a lot of there's truth in what they're saying. I don't even want to say it's a lot of truth. It's truth in what they're saying. If you want to be free, but you're gonna be slave to something. And acting like you being free, right? So, and you thinking that you're being free to do what you want to do, and you want to do whatever your heart desires. It's a YOLO kind of a thing. You only live once. That is a situation where you will be enslaved to those either addictive feelings that come on behind that, or the thoughts that come, the bad feelings, the et cetera, because there's a lot that comes behind that more than, because it's like a high. You get a high, and it's for a moment, but when you come down from that high, you're gonna want it again. And a lot of times it's gonna take more for you to get that high again than it did that first time. So your appetite is never, ever satisfied. Think of you. I get. Water is something that we need. We need water more than we need food. But I bet you would be more willing to eat more food than you ever drink more water. It's a thing as far as, we need so much water and for healthy skin, et cetera. But we'd be willing to go get that fried something or that whatever something we not supposed to be eating. I ain't even gonna go there because I'd be quick to give me some Harold's chicken. So yeah, but I'm just saying this because it's not so much as a judgment thing and like you shouldn't be doing that. But no, it's just a thing as far as in looking at working on quenching certain appetites and how they'll never be quenched. But let me get back to this. So I left on the ingrates thing and love. Even thinking of ourselves as far, we'll get love. Okay, we'll get back. Let me continue with this. 5, Satan represents vengeance instead of turning the other cheek. 6, Satan represents responsibility to the responsible instead of concern for psychic vampires. 7, Satan represents man as just another animal, sometimes better, more often worse than those that walk on all fours, who because of his divine spiritual and intellectual development has become the most vicious animal of all. 8, Satan represents all the so-called sins, as they all lead to physical, mental, or emotional gratification. 9, I had to admit, when I read this today, it really made me laugh. Now, forgive me, because that's not funny, but it was funny, but it's not funny. Okay, so 9, Satan has been the best friend the church has ever had, as he kept it in business all these years. So with that, because I understand a lot of people following me will have difficulty with that and saying, man, that's some truth, because that's why I had to laugh. And we're going to be honest here because we grown, right? We grown. So in looking at, especially in the words that's used here, we're going to reread that again. Satan has the best friend the church has ever, Satan has been the best friend the church has ever had, as he kept it in business all these years. Now I'm looking at business. Now this didn't come to me the first time I read it, but it came to me the second time I read it. I know how we all love that part when Jesus go up in the temple, get the boy, he get the flipping them tables, like I'll flip all this over. He get the flipping them tables up. Yeah, that was part of the business thing. And then considering that people are having difficulties coming into an actual building to seek God and to do this, that, and the other, but it's okay for money exchangers to come in here, and it's okay for people to come in here and buy and sell their goods, but not okay for people of whatever culture to come in and seek God. You daggone right, I'm gonna flip these tables over. So And going back to this temple thing, and because I understand all these situations that's happening on, what we talked about this, that's happening on in the church and with different people. Man, the first thing I'm gonna tell you, and to be honest, I'm not putting my book down. We still gotta finish reading it. First thing I'm gonna tell you, and be honest, that I'm gonna tell you to be honest, and I'm gonna be honest about it. Mind your business. We don't know nobody's journey, and at the same time, we don't know what level they're on, what's going on. And I'm not saying mind your business in a disrespectful way, but I'm just saying, as far as when you know God for yourself and know Him in here, you're not gonna worry about what other people is doing, because you own your business. You have so much to do in the kingdom business. It's not a place where you're not even really paying attention to that, but you're also really trying to, because this is about love. So yeah, back to that ingrate thing, and this is about love and recognizing, even in loving yourself and in understanding how to love yourself, it better helps you to understand how to love others, because life just be lifing. And it doesn't matter what color we are, what sex we are. Everybody has something that they're suffering. Age, everything. Everybody is suffering and going through something. And it's not, when we get to a point where it's me against the world, that's when we're ready to blow up everything. That's when we're ready to go, shoot up the school, go do this, that, and the other. But when you recognize that this is a collective thing, which I'm going to get back to. Hold that collective thought. So what was the last thing I need to get back to? Okay, so it was this other little snippet part that I found. Because in going back to this love situation, right? So this is just part number 5 of a list, but I'm just going to give you this little slight part of it. Is not lust and carnal desire a more truthful term to describe love when applied to the continuance of the race? Is not the love of the fawning scripture simply a euphemism for sexual activity, or was the great teacher a glorifier of eunuchs? Okay, this was a situation where, and it's like on one hand, okay, I get where y'all coming from, but on the other hand, here I have my list. And at first I was going to start off with my ladies. I'm going to start off with my dudes. Here we have David and Solomon. Solomon, bro, everybody talk about how wise Solomon was, how rich Solomon was. Yeah. I feel like, this is my opinion, I feel like Solomon was even super wise, because after his downfall, he was able to reflect on all of that and not kill himself. I just think that was like, But he went through all of this, had an opportunity to do all of those things. Like, he started off at a place, slightly different mindset, but then he got taken off somewhere else. And both of these things were, and I'm going because there's that one part that I just read as far as like the eunuch situation or whatever. Here, David and Solomon's winky woos were working just fine. I mean, they was working. So, in saying this, they was working it. It was working fine, and they was working it. But especially in coming back to David. David, he was working stuff. Yep. But at the same time, he had this relationship with God. In him having this relationship with God, he was able to write some powerful words. And they were words of life. And they were words to show you, you are not alone. And God hears you. And in the midst of all this stuff going on, I just totally went off on David. In the midst of all this stuff going on, it's like, yeah, God still heard him. And God was looking at him like that was his friend. And so in looking at this, this was like, and God showed up and showed out for David. God showed some things to Solomon as well. God showed some things to Solomon as well. And Solomon has very interesting way of explaining, which I believe is that Ecclesiastes. Is that the book of wisdom? He has a very interesting way of explaining his downfall, like how he went about life, how he was able to reflect on his moments and doing what it was that he wanted to do, and how it was after that. And that's an interesting story. But let me continue on. So we have David and Solomon, whose works was working. They was working. And then we also have these wondrous women. We have the woman at the well who had all these different men going on, or whatever was happening in her relationships in her life. And Jesus saw this stuff happening, and it was just like, oh, she was able to speak life to him. Not accuse her. Well, I seen you doing it because your doings was doing. No. So again, I'm gonna continue with my list. So then we have Ruth. Ruth was set up in a position. I mean, the story is kind of written clean. It's some places where you read it and it be like, wait, what just happened? But then in listening to my mentor, Bishop Dale Bronner, oh no, he clarified that her stuff was working too. And I mean, it was working. And so I'm saying these people's stuff is working, but God, it's not like God is not working in their life anyway. Oh, I just thought about Samson. But let me tell you, okay, Samson, we know what happened with him and Delilah. Even if we don't know the Bible, I know you know that story. Okay, who else? We got the prostitute. And she in the line of Jesus. They always talking about what she was doing with her muffin. But you know what? She was working for God. That muffin wasn't for man or mammon. It was for God. Y'all could talk that talk all y'all want to. Y'all could talk that. So these people ain't eunuchs. They ain't eunuchs. And if I'm not mistaken, because I don't feel like Googling it. If I'm not mistaken, the eunuchs was the men that got they thing cut off. I don't know why I said it like that. But yeah. And so it's like they ain't got no feeling. You know, after a while, you can't use it. I don't know how that works. If they just like could just totally go numb, like, F it, I can't use my workings no more. But these were people who totally had they things. Both sex totally had them things working. And they was thinging that thing. And God was talking to these people. And God still loved these people. So, we come back to the woman at the well, okay? She wasn't alone. And the person who was there with her wasn't accusing her. So, this is like just a motivation as far as in, man, sit down and do just a little bit of reading. Just do you some reading. Just some reading. After the aftermath of being selfish, which Solomon definitely, if we're in a world where everything is me, because the me against the world attitude, you get to singing like you going to singing school like me. So it's not just about you. Solomon will let you know, like, man, this man had cooch galore. I'm pretty sure if he wanted to go on the other side, which they may not have explained, but if he wanted to, I'm pretty sure he had that too. If he wanted to. He had everything he wanted to have. Every single thing. But you know what? That man ain't had no peace. That man ain't had no joy. That man didn't have the inside of him where even when all this stuff was going on, he could say, but God, thank you. I mean, he eventually got to that point, but at that time when he was thinking that thing, he wasn't even thinking about that. And so let me get back to my notes. So as Solomon would tell you, it will not lead you to a happy ending. And so what's my third note? Because I got 3 notes. I got 4. I didn't know it was that long. And so if everything in the earth thought like us, we can even let the bees, if the bees thought like us, you know, like thought like F them people, man. I'm tired of them. We ain't got nothing to do with it. If the trees thought like us, do you know we would be dead? I mean, even if you think maggots are disgusting and you don't want nothing to do with maggots because they nasty, they still serve a purpose. Because if they didn't have anything to do with us and didn't want to eat our flesh, do you know it would be carcasses everywhere and we would be dead because it would be too much bacteria and all that stuff around? So, I'm saying this to say, because even at this very moment, because Panther not in here, he's not in here, and I seem like I am alone. I'm not alone. Even with the plants in here and the stuff, I'm not alone. It's stuff working in here, outside there, to help keep me alive. It's not thinking by itself like this is just a me. No. So, the reward, the reward of me, I ain't gonna lie, we could be honest here. Oh my God, it feels so good. It feels so good. Temporarily. It's like you get that high. It's like, oh, I feel great. But that crash when you fall down and you're looking around because don't nobody want to be bothered with you because they found out you was full of crap. And then it's just like, then you wondering, how come I ain't no friends? Because it was all about you. I mean, but this is just, you know, just in the people who think like that, because this is not what we talk. This not us, because we're working on our best self. It's not the selfishness, is it? No. So, in opening yourself up to the possibilities of God, you're not alone. So what came to me was the situation with Moses, right? I don't know what that was. It's the situation with Moses. And he's talking to this bush. The bush is burning and God is speaking to him. And, you know, they're having a conversation and God is, it's at the time where, you know, it's let my people go. Let my people set my people free. Whatever that 10 Commandments movie be saying. So here it is. He's telling, they're having a conversation as far as in the people and God hearing the people's cries, etc., etc., etc. And this is another, God hears you. So he's telling him what to do with Pharaoh, telling Moses what to do with Pharaoh. So Moses is like, so who shall I say? Who should I say send me? Who is this to say? You know, who am I to say this? And he was like, God said, I am. So the version that I have is I am who I am. And I swore it was another version that said something about like, I'm the great I am the great I am, or whatever. But the whole thing I'm looking at is this whole I am. And every time we say, I am this, I am that, it is like a reminder that I am of God. And also, in recognizing and how he presented himself to Moses, he presented himself like, you know, when you're saying like I am, it is a being and a doing. That doing and being is connected because it is something that is in a process of happenings. I don't know how to explain that, but it's like a nounness to that I am. And so in recognizing that it is a total, like, I didn't plan on this video going this far and this long, my apologies. But this is a thing where it's not just you. It's not just you. You're not by yourself. The situation as far as God talking about, he'll fight your battles. The battle is not yours, it's his. So it's a thing where, do you want to be alone? Because if you want to be alone, you very much can be alone. And if you choose selfishness, that does put up the boundaries in which you can be alone, because eventually would nobody want to be bothered with that? But then in recognizing that there is a community here, that there is a connection and a oneness. And it's like, it's your choice. It's not a thing where it's a gun to your head and you're forced to do it. But as far as in and what it is that you want for the rest of this duration of your life. Do you want peace and joy, or do you want what you want when you want it? And it's hard work in controlling everything. It really is. And it's no rest with that. And I mean, if you're actually going to be working on controlling something, it's more beneficial for us to work on controlling ourselves, work on controlling our emotions, work on controlling what we're actually putting our time to. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why I'm asking that like that. So I love you guys. I'm not going to push this off too long. And I'm just going to read my little bit because I want to make sure I'm not missing anything just because of the time. But as far as this is about patience. I had the other video as far as letting patience do her thing. But have patience, my friend. Know for a fact that he hears you. So prepare yourself to listen and hear him. Prepare yourself to be sensitive to his word, to be sensitive to his presence. Open your heart to these things. When me against the world, you putting blockers up and you're not letting anything in, and you're also not able to really let anything out. And so now we're getting at a place where it's all love, baby. This is a safe space. So even if it's just you, know that I am is there. I love you guys. God loves you even more. Find out why, because he definitely does. And in his word, he's talking about, if he's telling you to trust him, he got to be able to prove his word and be in truth. And it's in layers. And this is an experience, not something to just memorize and talk about and correct people. Because that whole beam in your eye, boy, it's hard to see other people's stuff. So it's like we minding our business, working on our best self. I love you guys. If this helps you, like, share, subscribe. See you in the next couple of days. Make it great, my peeps.